Hello students, this is Mr. Sims. For recorded lessons in Module 1, we are on page 69, day 13, computing actual lengths from a scale drawing. And the lesson objective, I can find actual length using the scale drawing. So why don't you go ahead and just hit pause for a minute to get the lesson objective written down. Alright, now that we're back, example number 1, basketball at recess. So I'm going to read. There's a lot of reading here. I'm going to read lessons. Will the lot be big enough for the court he planned? And then there's the word in there, explain. So in this video, I'm going to go over example number 1 and example number 2. Now you can see there's a picture down here. So we'll get to that picture here in a moment. All right. Vincent proposes an idea to the student government to install a basketball hoop along a court marked with the shooting lines and a boundary line at his school. Okay. He presents the plan to install a half-court design as shown below. After checking with the school administration, he is told that it will be approved if it can fit on an empty lot that measures 25 feet by 75 feet. Will the lot be big enough for the court he planned? And explain. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to move down to the diagram down here. Okay, we have a scale drawing. And the scale drawing says that 1 inch on the drawing corresponds to 15 feet of actual length. So I'm going to write that down. 1 inch equals 15 feet. Right, so that's our scale. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to find the actual measurements. So these are the measurements that are on the scale. So let's start down here with the 2 inches. Okay. So 2 inches. We'll go here. So basically what we're trying to find is how many feet that would be. Now some of you might be able to do this one in your head. But the method from Fast and Furious in class was how to use the butterfly method or the cross-multiplying method. Okay. So you would take the 2 times the 15, and that's going to equal 1 times x, or just x. So we get 2 times 15, which is 30 feet. All right, so down here below in my diagram, I'm going to write in parentheses, okay, so this actually would be 30 feet. All right, so that was a pretty easy one to figure out. So now we got to figure out the height, or actually this would be the width of the basketball court. We got 1 2/3, so the same scale factor, 1 inch equals 15 feet. Now we want 1 2/3 inches over x. So really what happens is, when you're using a scale factor that's based on 1, if you noticed here, all we really had to do is just multiply these two numbers, because dividing by 1 doesn't do anything. So I'm going to do the same thing here. We're going to take 15 times 2 1/3. Okay, 15 times 1 2/3. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. So we're getting mad here. I am going to show you a strategy later on about how you don't necessarily have to get mad. And I might show you that actually in class. As a kind of a close the deal out thing. So we're going to get mad here because that's what you're used to doing. 3 times 1 is 3, 2 would be 5 over 3. And then we got 15 over 1. Okay, so then we can do some canceling here. 3 goes into 3 once. And the 15 5 times. So really we just have 5 times 5, or 25 feet. All right, so we have 25 feet here. So we really have a 30 by 25 feet. So now if I go back to the original question, going back to the top here, 25 feet by 75 feet on the school property. So the 25 feet will be wide enough for the width here, and 75 feet will be plenty. So the answer to this, will the lot? Yes, because the actual lengths are 30 by 25. Okay. So that's using a scale factor or a scale drawing to figure out the actual lengths, which is really what the major skill is in this module. Okay. Example number 2. Find the actual length and width of the garden based upon the given drawing. So here we've got a scale that 1 centimeter equals 20 meters. 1 centimeter equals 20 meters. So down here, we got 1 centimeter equals 20 meters. And we'll use that to set these proportions up. Right. Now, it also says that each square is a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So that means that the lengths of these are 1 centimeter. So if I just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I've got 8 centimeters as the length of this rectangular garden, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4 as the width, 4 centimeters. Okay. So if I set proportions up, set proportion up for the length, so I'd have 8 centimeters here, putting this over x. All right, and then once again, this is a method, but some of you might be able to figure out this answer another way. All right, so we just have, and when this is based on 1, really you're just multiplying these two numbers together. So it's really just 8 times 20, which would be equal to 160 meters. All right, so in parentheses, I'm going to put 160 meters there. So that's what it actually is. All right, and then we got 4 centimeters, so we got 1 centimeter over 20 meters. Okay. Notice that I'm labeling these. Now, the reason I want to label these is so that I don't mess up where I put this number. You got to make sure that the 4 goes on the top because centimeters would go on top in this case. X would go on the bottom. Okay, and then we would cross multiply, divide by the 1, but really dividing by 1 doesn't do anything, so we just multiply here and we get 80 meters as the width. Okay. So now, what is the perimeter of the actual garden? All right, so we're going to add a piece to this. What's the perimeter? So the perimeter of any shape, you just add up the sides. Hopefully you remember this. So we've got 80 over here, actual garden. So we want the actual length. So we got 80 over here. We got 160, we got 160. So really we're going to take 80 plus 80 plus 160 plus 160. So add the 80s together, I get 160. Add the 160s together, I get 320. Right, and then I would add these together. Oh, moving this up, ran out of room. 0, 8, 4. 480 meters would be the perimeter. Right. Next lesson we'll talk about we'll review doing the area. So next up, and the video's at 7 minutes, I'm not doing next up. This is a kind of a you do, and the only thing I'm going to ask you to do is scribble out the information in here and use this as the scale. 1 inch on the scale is equal to 4 inches of actual length. And then check in with myself or Mrs. Fox for the answer. So this is Mr. Sims signing off.